Hi there, I'm Garrett Glaser. I wrote a project article for the American Woodworker on how to make these small trunks. There's one feature of these trunks, this wooden strapping here, which I used as instead of leather strapping, which I want to talk about a little today. These are not steam bent or bent laminations. These straps are hot pipe bent. Hot pipe bending is a pretty straightforward process. It's the bending of wood over a hot pipe. This has some advantages and one disadvantage over other forms of bending like steam bending or laminating. One of the advantages is that it's a very simple setup. All you need is a piece of galvanized pipe with a flange, a piece of scrap plywood that you cut a hole through, and a propane torch. That's really all you need. I've seen some people use just a set of parallel jaw clamps at the base of the torch and rest the nozzle in there. I'm a little paranoid about having a fiery torch rolling around the floor of my wood shop. So I built this cradle so I can securely clamp it in place, and the whole unit is clamped into the vise at the end of the table. Another advantage is that this is a free-form style of bending. You don't need any bending forms or anything. You just use, in this case, the lid itself as your guide for how you're going to bend it. You'll just check as you go how much bend you need. The disadvantage is that you are limited in the thickness of stock that you're going to be able to bend using this method. Basically how it works is you've soaked wood so it's saturated with water overnight, and the heat from the pipe is transferred into the moisture in the wood, and it softens the lignin, which is the adhesive bond between the wood fibers, and you can bend it. If you have a piece of 1.5-inch oak that you've soaked for as long as you want, there isn't any way that this pipe is going to get heat through that whole piece of oak, so you're not going to be able to bend it. But anything 1/4 of an inch or so or smaller, and this method is going to work out great for you. So let's go get our strips and we can start bending. All right, we've got our strips. Let's turn on our torch now so the pipe has a chance to heat up. You'll notice that I'm wearing this leather apron, and that is because I have a propane torch pointed through a pipe that will be pointing at my chest. Now, there's no reason that flame should ever be coming out the end of that pipe. You don't need to have the heat on very high to get the pipe hot enough. You don't want it so low that it's going to go out, but just above that should be fine. Now, I would recommend, if you're checking the height of the flame, check from back here. Don't put your eye up to that end. It's not a very good idea. So my strips, which have been soaking overnight, I've marked them here and here with where the sharper bends on my lid are. And I did that just by holding it up against the lid, marking it, rolling it across, and marking it. And these are just guides because this is an inexact process. So I'm going to check it again as I go. Now you might be wondering, how hot does this pipe need to be hot enough? Well, it needs to be very hot. A good way to test it is to drip some water onto the pipe itself. If the water boils in place on the pipe, it's not hot enough. But if it skitters off, like that's doing, just bounces right off the pipe, then it's hot enough. Which, by the way, that means that pipe is very, very hot. Do not touch the pipe. It is not a good idea. I cannot say it enough. Don't grab onto the hot pipe. So, in that vein, to protect myself a little bit from that hot pipe, I don't want my hands very close to the pipe, so I'm going to grip my strip with these handy vise clamps right here on the end like this. And that keeps my hand far away from the hot pipe. Now we know that this pipe is hot enough, and you're just going to very gently rock it back and forth on the pipe in the spot that you want to bend. Because the pipe is so hot, you're going to dry out your piece of wood very quickly. So just wet that down every once in a while, and that'll keep it moist enough. Now, after a couple of minutes or sooner, you're going to start to feel that wood give and it's going to allow you to put a little bit of extra pressure on there. You can see that steam coming up off of there. And it's going to let you make that nice curve right there. And now let's check that curve against our lid. And that is pretty good. So we'll move up, and the larger, more gentle curve won't take as much pressure at all. You can just do a few rocking motions every half an inch or an inch or so, and you'll start to get a nice big long curve. And with this process, you could flip this around and make an S shape. You can do anything you want. You can see here I wasn't getting it wet enough, so I've kind of scorched the wood back here. In this process, for this application, that's fine because you're never going to see the back. But if you're making a salad spoon or something, that'll be a lot of sanding to get rid of those scorch marks. So make sure you keep getting the piece nice and wet. And that's hot pipe bending. Thank you.